Hey guys, welcome back to Human Condition. I want to start off by saying thank you guys so much for all the support on all my recent videos. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me, especially you guys commenting and just watching in general. I really appreciate you guys. I'll definitely try to, I saw some suggestions for some future videos, so I'll definitely try to keep those in my mind for some future videos and probably definitely try to do some of those suggestions you guys suggested. But in this video, this is another philosophy video. This is going to be what is the constant battle between, I think that's the name of this, was what is the constant battle between growth and comfort, or just growth versus comfort. And basically, I think I talked about this a little bit in my one video about what is life like a movie. But I talked about 4 different aspects that I wanted to do for separate videos. So this one will take one aspect of the 4 I talked about in that video and just dive deeper into that one, basically. So basically, in life, kind of like my last one of my videos for philosophy, they all kind of tie together. We talked about duality and how everything is balanced, you know? So one thing that is duality in life is there's always a need to grow, but there's always a need to stay comfort, and that's a constant battle that everyone faces. I feel like, at least in my opinion, in life, is the battle to grow or the battle to stay where they are. And this can come out a lot of different ways, whether that's career-wise, relationship-wise, any type of way, and we all want to grow as people. So basically, it's the constant battle is trying to figure out if you want to grow more, if you want to stay comfortable. And it's always tough because in life, life won't let you stay in your comfort zone or your growth zone for too long. For example, if you stay in your comfort zone for too long, eventually that comfort zone might start to deteriorate, and it'll have to push you towards the growth zone. And if you stay in your growth zone for too long, you'll be put back into comfort zone. And the reason why is, for example, all personal growth and goals will always conflict with someone else's goals. And this is because everyone always has their own goals. So your growth will always kind of, I don't want to say like, maybe not always, sometimes your growth will help other people's growth. But most of the time, because people are so different, you have to work through your differences, you know, for different growths. So a lot of times you can't grow too much. That's why you can't always stay in the growth zone, because if you're always growing, like in a stoppable amount of rate, you'll be kind of almost like ignorance is bliss kind of type of thing, where you'll be doing all your desires, but because of this, everyone around you has to kind of make sure you don't go too far, you know. So that would be the example of the growth rate, because that's kind of like almost like in my other psychology videos, like the id, ego, and superego. That would be almost always listening to your id, your growth rate, because even though growth is good, too much growth can be too impulse based, too much id, and then because your growth might for some reason always kind of conflict with other people's, because just natural way. And not always, sometimes your growth will help other people, but so I won't say always does, but a lot of the times it does. And because of this, eventually, if you go on that side, the id side too fast, the growth side too fast, society as a whole will kind of push you back into the comfort zone, even though you don't want to be. I don't know, what's a good example of this? Someone who made a lot of mistakes, and this could be kind of I don't want to say law breaking, but law breaking almost in a way, because you just listen to your id, you don't act off impulse, right? Growth, you might make impulsive decisions, whereas that would be the extreme of too much growth, and life will have to put you, I guess, back in a comfort zone, sort of. Maybe, I don't know, I could be wrong. And then if you stay in your comfort zone too long, that would be not wanting to grow as you get older, kind of staying at your younger age, even though you're older age, and eventually you're gonna have to, and that's an example of growth. For example, like um, eventually, eventually, it's kind of sad, but sometime eventually, if you like, say you stay with your support group for a very long time, eventually they're either gonna go away, or you're gonna have to go away, or they might not. No one is around forever. That's kind of sad, but without that support group, eventually, since they're going to go, either you're going to have to like go to college, or like not live in the same household, um, or they might, you're going to have to grow. Your comfort will always change. So that's an example of, if you stay in your comfort zone for too long, eventually you're going to have to grow, whenever grow. When you stay in your growth zone too long, eventually you're going to have to, society will kind of push you, because it's, no one should have too much power, right? So if you're always growing, you're going to always become rising too much power. And whenever you get too much power, the saying pride comes before the fall. If you ever get too much power, the world's going to like kind of knock you back down. So that's the balance. Too much growth, you'll be knocked down. Too much comfort, on a positive note, you'll be lifted up, sort of. What other things can I talk about? This kind of ties in with character development versus character regression. And each day, it's good to always try to grow a little bit. Do like a little challenge, do a little bit of, put a little push out there, and then get a little pushback, for your own desires. Just don't like obviously push too far, just a little bit, and then do something that makes you afraid every day. Do something different that is character growth. For example, like I was afraid to start a YouTube channel for a long time, but it always is in the back of my mind. If you have something in the back of your mind, it's best to do it, I guess, because the thought won't go away until you do it, So that's an example of growth, because you're doing the opposite of giving into fear by trying to just, chase your goals, as long as you just don't push too far when you're trying to achieve what you're trying to achieve in life. So that would be an example of growth. What would be character regression? I'm saving this video for another video, so just do this briefly. But that would be like going back to old habits. And I'll talk about that in another video, another future video, which is character development or personal development versus personal regression. And that is basically, each day we either getting a little, in my mind, we're getting at least a little bit better or a little bit worse, development wise. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. But yeah, some other aspects of growth. So yeah, and then what other aspects of growth are there? Yeah, basically that's the balance in life. Each day, as people, we want to grow, but each day it's hard to grow because we're so comfortable with what we do in the day-to-day life. So it's kind of a battle every day to decide, do I want to grow or do I want to be comfortable? And it's always good to grow, but it's always good to enjoy and be comfortable some days, So yeah, that is, I wish I could talk about this more, but I can't really think of anything else to say about this at the moment. But yeah, this is what, in conclusion, in life, there's always a constant battle between people, between growth and comfort, kind of like the id, ego, and superego. It affects us every day. Growth is like the id; it's our desires personified into logical goals, kind of like the id and ego combined. We take those and then we think about it clearly. We assign it to a goal, and that is like our growth. So actually, it's not quite as bad as just listening to your id, if you make it combine it with your ego, and that would be goal setting, and that's a good form of growth, as long again as you don't push too fast, don't listen to the id too much, and just chase after a reasonable goal. That is a good example of growth, at least in my opinion. Comfort is your daily routines, your habits, the things that you do every day. For example, growth can eventually become comfort. For example, if you get used to, let's say, um, you don't want to talk to new people and you start talking to new people, that might become comfort in a way because you're used to it now. So the good thing about growth is eventually you will get more comfortable the more you do it, which is cool to see. And you can also see how you grow, and once you take a step back and look at your past, you can see, because every day we grow. I think we grow always for better and for worse. There's worse aspects of ourselves as we get older, and there's better aspects of ourselves. But either way, overall, growth is a more positive aspect, even with the negative things that happen. Way we've grown, there's always more positive, I believe, than negative in when it comes to growth. So yeah, that was growth versus comfort. Um, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Uh, as always, thanks again for watching. Like and subscribe if you want. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.